Everyone, welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. And as I mentioned, it's Dottie and Orly, but Dottie, we have a guest today.
We do, and it's a repeat guest. I'd like to welcome Diana Burton. I like to call you the Queen of Events, Diana.
Oh, I like that title. I think I'll take it.
So, Diana, tell us just a little bit about yourself and what your role is in the center that you're at.
Sure. Actually, I'm in a military bowling center in Germany, and I'm the program coordinator. So I get to do all of the fun things and plan the events and then follow through with marketing and promotion, the event coordination the day of, the after action reports that I like to do. And I love my job. I love that I get to have fun and bring people into the center. And it's a great job when you get to do something that you love to do.
Yes, actually, I thought of a new title. So we're going to give you multiple titles today. You're a memory maker.
Oh, I like that. That's
You're
nice.
a memory maker.
Yeah.
So yes, you have a very fun job. It's, rarely do people get to do something that they actually get to bring enjoyment and they get to see the smiles that they actually themselves generate. Yeah. And so it is a very, very exciting role that you play. And especially being in a military environment. I know you know this. I was a spouse myself coming up through the Air Force, and the value that you bring to those families that are most all displaced from their true families is such a crucial role in the overall role that military spouses and the military member themselves play. And so for that, I say thank you. But today's topic is going to be about exactly what you do on a daily basis. It's going to be about preparing for an event. And when we prepare for an event, there's a lot of stuff that has to go on in the beginning. There's a lot of stuff that goes on the day of. And one little step that a lot of people do not follow through on is crossing that finish line with that event and creating that after actions or that debrief document. So, Diana, let's start about that. Let's start with that. As far as events, when someone contacts you and wants to have an event, or when you have this light bulb moment, when you decide that you want to have a drive-in night at the bowling center, let's talk about what all thoughts go through your brain and what you do with those thoughts.
Oh gosh. Oftentimes my mind just, I almost feel like I have to do a little bit of a brain dump because I just keep getting all of these ideas and I just write them all down. And that's really the first step that I do. Whatever idea I have, I write it down and store it. And then I usually will let it sit there for maybe a day or so and then come back to it and, see what else I need to put on, I guess, that checklist of, what all do we need to do? And I also really love to be able to plan in advance. Yes, I think we talked about this the last time. I have things planned out in advance because I don't like to do that last minute thrush of, what do I have to get? And is this not going to work? Am I not going to get the things that I want to get? And, I just follow through with that and then go to marketing once I have kind of my idea formulated. And I'm lucky that I have marketing that gets to make the flyers for me and help me with the promotion. And that definitely takes a big, that off of my shoulders.
That's a key part of it too, is to be able to promote the event the proper way so that you get, the people to be aware of it and they come into the center. And when we're talking about planning in advance, that's so key because and especially writing it down, there's something to be said about writing it down, having it to the side where you are able to look at that, all the time. But to look at that list and think of everything that goes along with it, because the more little tiny details you can add to the event, the better off you are, right? And the other thing I'll say, Diana, you and I have been working together for months now. We meet on a weekly basis, and we always spend a portion of our call brainstorming the events that are coming up. And it's so helpful when you put minds together. One word from someone can lead to an entire thought process for someone else, right, Orly? We do this every single day.
Yeah, and I was going to jump in there is a couple things, going back a little bit, planning early. It's I used to help plan concerts and stuff like that. And people sometimes are like, it's a little early to start. I'm like, no, I'd rather sell out months before and be done and ready to go and work on other things than to wait last minute. You're like, oh no, are these people going to buy tickets? Are they going to do that? And another thing I just like about the show I wanted to mention was just, letting her talk about what kind of the behind the scenes are. Sometimes people, are able to come to these events and they think like, oh, they don't know how much goes into this. And I don't know if they necessarily want to know or need to know, but it's just, there's so much into it. It's so fun. Everybody sees the fun part, but there's so much that has to go into it. And that's why, if I was a customer, I'd be like thankful for you, because just seeing how much goes into it. And then back to the planning different events, talking about upcoming events. It's always good to always plan those too, or have little ideas. Because if you have a customer come to you or a company come to you, it's like, hey, I thought of doing such and such. And let's say you've already talked about that or planned that before. You're like, oh, I have the perfect idea for that. I've kind of been working on it already. And then you already have those, kind of pre-plans, and you're able to finish executing them faster than building a brand new plan from start.
Yes, 100%. So, there's, as we all agree, there's a lot that goes into the planning part of it, right? It's very important to do that. And most event coordinators do a really good job of doing that. They're writing it down, they're checking it off, they're planning in advance. And the day of, obviously, Orly's heard me say this before. I used to get the staff together and we would do like a little pep rally because I'm so excited. Again, Diana, you and I are a lot alike. We're very bubbly. The day of the event is here. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Come on, guys. Let's put our best foot forward. Put your smiles on. Straighten your name tag. Tuck your shirt in. Let's go. And so those are all, a lot of people do those things and they do them quite well. But the one step that a lot of people fail to follow through on is what happens afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about that, Diana. When your event is done, do you just close the book and say, I survived?
No, because I am a little bit of a perfectionist. I like to look at it and see, and start asking myself questions, like what worked well, what could have been better, what maybe should I have done instead of doing this one thing. Maybe I should have done it a little bit differently. I like taking a look at and seeing, what I could have done, changed or done better. I love it too. I've had this happen at many, many events, as you're kind of the event's winding down, and then you have the customers come up to you and they just are so grateful. And they're like, we had such a great time. Thank you for doing this. That is another part of the job that I love. And that I love that feedback that I get from them, that I know they had a good time. They enjoyed themselves, and help them make those memories.
Yes, for sure. And, when you are following up with the after actions report or debrief, depending on what you call it, the fact that you've planned in advance and you've got your checklist, you've got your notes, all that, I like to encourage people to incorporate that into your after actions report.
Yeah.
You need to know that this is how I marketed this event. This was how I came up with the pricing for this event. And, these are the steps that we took, so that next time when you plan this event, you've got the whole picture. So if your turnout wasn't quite like you wanted it, you already know this is what I did to promote it. These are the places that I went to promote it. So perhaps this time, part of my planning needs to be spent here on how am I going to promote this event. And I like the fact that you are saying, capturing that feedback from the customers. Don't be afraid to put some of that in the after actions report or the debrief, right?
Yes,
Positive
exactly.
or negative,
Yes,
right?
true. Yeah, because that negative, there could be a good little nugget in there of something you could do better next time.
Yeah, and another great opportunity is just to work with your staff. You might have thrown, Bob behind the bar for this big party, and he just couldn't take it. And you're like, okay, to either work with them to help them be ready for next time, or to maybe be like, you know what, he might be a little bit better over here. There's all these things that you have going on that you can monitor. I've had experienced that before too, where somebody just got overwhelmed, and I'm like, okay, so they're great when it wasn't so busy, but it was like, oh no, and it weren't bad, but it was just like they kind of just got overwhelmed. So I was like, okay, next time maybe let's try you over here or try that. So, or somebody that stepped up that you didn't think of, and you're like, oh wow, they really took over, and I'm going to use them here next time.
And that's a very important point. Definitely, you need to list out who your staff was on that report, and then feel comfortable saying, "Great job," nervous, whatever the case may be. But at least you know what your staffing was last year, and then that gives you the opportunity to say properly staffed, understaffed, overstaffed. I mean, that's even a possibility. I want to take just a second to go back on something, because you said something very important, that you like to get the feedback from the customers. And Orly, you've heard me say this before, because I'm a huge fan of following through and making sure. If it's a house-sponsored event, that's different. But if it's an organization that comes into your event, into your venue, and they have a big event, I liked part of my after actions is to follow through with a personal thank you to the person that coordinated it. And I'm old school. I want to send them a thank you note in the mail. And I do that because it is old school, because it is something that is not done anymore. And it makes an impression when they open up the mail and they get a card that has a human's, signature on it and personal little message. I know when I get something like that, I'm like, that was a nice touch. And so that can all be part of that after actions, after event as well.
Yeah, it can. And I think that handwritten thank you note, maybe that's just the Southern girl in me, but that just is the perfect ending touch. And that's going to make the person that gets the note remember you the next time they're trying to plan something.
100%, 100%. Even birthday parties and the events that we have inside bowling centers and entertainment centers, we always encourage our event coordinator or our program director to provide the party mom or dad a digital thank you note that they can send out to all their guests, because you know what? That's nice. That's nice. We could use a little bit more nice stuff in this world, right?
We can, definitely.
And it can start with us, right?
Yes. Love it.
Well, Diana, I'm curious, is there any event that you're really looking forward to that you've already started with the pre-planning stages?
Oh gosh. Well, yes, I do have some things still in May and in June. Coming up, we have our retro drive-in tomorrow night, Friday night.
And that's usually your Neoverse wall, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But we're all ready. I've already coordinated with all the staff that's going to be there. I have one of my teenagers who's decorating for me tonight. And it's all coming together perfectly. Everybody's ready, and we're going to have a great time.
So I have to tell you, when I saw that you were doing the retro drive-in movie night, I vision this girl in her little outfit, right? With maybe the little hat on roller skates, holding the little tray, going car to car to take, like a little car hop, right? I'm like, oh, they're going to have people on roller skates rolling around on the floor on the courts.
That would be perfect. We are dressing up. No roller skates though, but it's going to be fun.
I can imagine. I can't wait to follow it. So that's awesome. Well, Orly, do you have anything else for this queen of events?
No, I mean, I just to kind of touch back on some of the things that for the people that are listening is, prepare early, prepare, meet with your staff before, and then make sure you're meeting with them again after, just to let them know, how great of a job they did, because I'm sure they like to hear that, and just on things that everybody can work on to make things better, or just how to keep things as successful as they were.
Yeah, and the other thing is, don't be afraid to brainstorm. Brainstorming is so healthy. It's so therapeutic. We should charge by the half hour for it because it's so therapeutic, but there's so many great things that can happen. So don't be afraid to brainstorm with your staff. That also gets their buy-in on things like that too. And they feel like they're a big part of those celebrations when they actually happen. So, well, awesome. That's great. And Diana, any closing remarks?
No, this was fun. I love talking to you guys and sharing ideas. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you have a standing invitation anytime. So listeners, don't be surprised if Diana will be back. So, well, we're going to wrap for today. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode of Seeds of Success. With decades of industry experience, we're honored to share ideas, strategies, and trends designed to help entertainment centers like yours thrive and grow. Together, we're planting the seeds for a stronger, more successful future. Share this podcast with your team and industry friends, because the more seeds we sow, the greater the harvest. Until next time, let's continue to build success, one happy guest and one incredible experience at a time.